Yes, I am Dr. Mrs. Joshi. I am basically a physiologist. I was professor and head at LTMM College, Science, Department of Physiology. So, physiology is a key subject in whole of medicine. Physiology tells you about the functioning of the human body. Anatomy is another subject which is taught in the first year of medical school about the structure of the body. So these two subjects are taught in the first year of medical school. Okay? And biochemistry is another third subject which has been taught. Biochemistry is a subject which tells you about the intracellular events. What happens exactly? So that is biochemistry, subcellular events. So these are the three topics which form the basics absolutely of the human body. So while teaching and learning physiology for 30 years, yes, I have realized that human body, not only human body or human being, all other living beings in the whole of universe, the nature is supreme, nature is great. Nature has designed each and every living body perfectly well. When anyone is born, any human being is born, he is perfectly healthy and human body is well equipped with whatever potential or whatever mechanisms which are required to maintain normalcy and health all throughout life. And if you fall sick, even the healing and repair, the mechanisms which are required are also inbuilt. They are within. So healing power is from within and not from outside. Yes, so health is natural, health is normal, health can be achieved only by healthful living. Because when you see 100 babies born, 99% of the babies are normal, absolutely normal. Very few babies have got some congenital abnormalities. So nature sometimes makes mistakes. Very rarely, very rarely. But over
Not
a period
nature
of
made
years,
mistake, human being did.
maybe there may be something wrong
That's
in the human
debatable,
being.
that's
Yeah.
debatable.
But the mistakes made by nature or whatever it is are minimum, less. Yes, hardly any. So 99% of the babies are absolutely normal. And every human being or every baby has got potential to grow and develop all faculties of functions normally, yes. And then if the disease occurs, again the healing takes place without medicine, without any help from outside, right? That means everything is there inside, but we should make use of it properly by right practices and right habits. So we go wrong sometimes, somewhere, and that is how the disease development starts in the body. So nowadays in modern times, this 20th century, yes, living without disease, living without medicinal supports, or what we call it as graceful aging, has become a rarity. Yes, it has become impossible. For what reason, I don't know, but it has become impossible. But all throughout life, provided you develop and cultivate right practices, right living or healthful living, and then you can continue your good health all throughout life till end. Of course, aging is one of the stage which occurs in every living being. The one who is born is going to die one day. Yes? So slowly all your bodily functions decline. But this decline should not be precipitous. It should not be steep. There is slow decline. And that is what is called as graceful aging. Yes? So a 90-year-old person cannot run fast, but he should be able to walk normally. So recently I read in one paper, a 94-year-old man dig a well for the villagers because there was shortage of water. So if you have willpower and good thoughts, body will function. Body always listens to your thoughts. Never. It is your brain or your thoughts become senile, or because of aging, the thoughts probably do not come, or you do not receive the energy molecule that coming from the cosmos. The receptivity of your brain or your nervous system becomes less, whatever. Or there are a number of these things. Before going on to the subject of health proper, I think I would like to orient yourself in the functional organization of the human body. How human body functions. What are the different structures within? Yes? So I will just orient in that particular aspect. Then the understanding of health becomes very easy. See, the human body is a huge society of cells. It is a collection of cells. How many cells are there in human body? You know, some scientists have counted. It is 180 trillion cells. 180 trillion cells. So this is a collection of cells. Now if you want to equate, what is cell? Cell is like one single human being in the whole of the society. The smallest functional unit of the body is a cell. What is the size of a cell? 7 to 10 microns. One cell, 7 to 10 microns. Now what are the parts of the cell? This is the membrane, cell membrane. This is the nucleus, governing part of the cellular function. So there are a number of small structures. Then this will contain cytoplasm, the fluid. Okay? So this is the smallest functioning level. It is like a brick in the wall. One brick in the big wall. So cell corresponds to one brick in the wall. Now there are levels of organization, right? Now in our society, one family becomes higher level of society, higher level of organization. One individual in one family, number of individuals in one family becomes higher level of organization. So similarly in the body, the cell is the smallest functional unit. The next level of organization, we call it as tissue. That means the number of cells or group of cells performing a similar function is called as tissue. So number of cells will form tissue. Next level of organization. Then there are different types of tissues. Connective tissue, muscular tissue, nervous tissue, glandular tissue. Yes, so there are varieties of tissues. The next level of organization after tissue is organ. Organ. So we have number of organs in our body. So one organ will have number of tissues. Now suppose you take liver. Yes, liver has got secretory cells which secrete number of hormones and chemicals and proteins and this that. Then it will have connective tissue because all these cells have to be bound together, right? So like a cementing substance which bind the bricks together to form a wall. So number of tissues will form an organ. Now there are different organs. The next level of organization is system. Several organs will form a system. So how many systems are there in the body? There are 10 different systems which are functioning in the body. Out of these 10 systems, 8 systems are working systems. They perform some kind of work, and 2 systems are controlling system or governing system. Now what are these 8 systems? You know, digestive system starts with the mouth, then Annanalika, what we call it as esophagus, then stomach, then small intestine, large intestine, rectum, end of it. This is one system. So which has a main function of digesting the food, absorbing the nutrients, passing it on to the blood, that's all. Then there is a respiratory system by which we breathe. So we take in oxygen, yes, which is utilized and transferred to the blood for various chemical reactions, the carbon dioxide which is produced in the blood because of number of chemical reactions is thrown out again through the respiratory system, right? Then cardiovascular system, which consists of heart, which acts as a pump, and number of blood vessels. So heart pumps the blood, which flows through the blood vessels, which goes to all the different types of cells, and it is this blood which carries the oxygen, that is the gas which is required for the various different functions, and the nutrients from the digestive system to the different cells. So this is how the cells get the nutrients. The nutrients enter inside the cell performs its functions. Whatever waste products that are produced, yes, are again thrown out. They come out through the cell, enter into the blood vessels, and then from the blood it is taken to the different organs of excretion like kidney, sweat glands, respiratory system. Also carbon dioxide is also one of the waste products which is thrown out constantly. Yes? So it is very complicated, the whole system. Okay? So this is cardiovascular system, heart and the blood vessels. Then there is endocrine system. There is excretory system. Excretory system is mainly kidneys, two ureters, urinary bladder, urethra. So the whole blood passes through the kidney number of times, and the kidney filters whatever unwanted substances which are there in the blood, kidney filters, and they are passed out through the urine. Right? Some waste products are passed out through the stools, through the digestive system. So every morning we have number 1 and number 2 acts, right? That is passing of urine and passing of stools. That is waste products are thrown out. So this is cardiovascular system, respiratory system, kidney is excretory system. Then there is reproductive system. Reproductive system, yes, that is ovaries and testes, which produce ova and sperms in males and in females, and that is reproduction function which is carried out. Then the two governing systems. Then most important is immune system. I forgot. Immune system, which provides defense to the body. What is the function of immune system? Immune system produces antibodies or the police force against any foreign invader which is coming, any foreign protein, foreign particles, or any foreign structure. If it is entering into the body, the immune system will take care of it. Yes, it will produce antibodies and it will fight out and will try to dispose of whatever is come. Now, immune system has got another important function. By doing this, immune system also recognizes our own bodily tissues, our own bodily glands, and immune system doesn't produce antibodies or police force against our own tissues. Nowadays, autoimmune diseases are becoming very common. Hypothyroidism, hyperthyroidism, hyperthyroidism is becoming so common in females. So it is one of the autoimmune disease. Suppose this second function of the immune system is lost, that is recognizing self and non-self. That is very, very important function of the immune system. If this function is lost, then body will not recognize our own tissues or our own glands, our own organs, and immune system will start producing antibodies against our own tissues. That is very, very bad, very bad. If thyroid gland is such an important gland, it secretes number of hormones. If antibodies are produced and the thyroid gland itself gets destroyed, what will happen? Thyroid will stop functioning, isn't it? So there are so many autoimmune diseases which are nowadays coming up. So immune system has got two important functions. One is fighting against the foreign particles or foreign structures which are entering into the body, and second, recognizing our own tissues and protecting them and not producing a police force or army against it. Yes, so immune system is extremely important, and preserving these particular functions of immune system is health, nothing else. because it has to react properly against a foreign invader. Yes, but it has to protect our own cells or our own tissues or glands or organs, whatever. Yes, so very, very important functions.
No, but is there any organ for immune system?
Immune system, there are
No organ, no?
there is no one particular organ as such, but there are number of lymph glands all over the body.
In the,
And they
in
are
the blood or
in the blood, outside the blood.
Outside.
Yeah, number of glands. Spleen is one of the important organ where the immune cells are produced. The cells which produce these antibodies. Then there are number of immune cells in the blood also. The white blood cells which are there in the blood, red blood cells and white blood cells. So white blood cells have got immune function. Monocytes, lymphocytes, then neutrophils, eosinophils. There are so many, 5, 6, 7, 8 types of white blood cells in the blood. So immune system is one. Then hemopoietic system, that is blood. Formation of blood in the bone marrow and other glands, and then circulation of that blood through the cardiovascular system. So that is also very, very important. Bone marrow, if it gets depressed, the blood cells are not formed only, and then the person suffers from leukemia and anemia and this, that. There are so many diseases, okay? So there are 8 different systems. Musculoskeletal system, very important. Musculoskeletal system or muscles produce the force, the strength, and they contract. And that is how you can move your leg or your hand, because all these muscles are attached to the bones. So that part of the bone is lifted forward or backward the way you want to produce movement. Right? So musculoskeletal system consumes a lot of energy, and it is very, very important because the mobility that you get is because of the musculoskeletal. So there are 8 different systems in the body which are working, and 2 controlling, governing systems. Which are they? One is nervous system and second is endocrine system. Endocrine system. So there are 5 different endocrine glands. Most important is pituitary gland, which is nothing but the part of the brain itself. Then hypothalamus. Hypothalamus is part of the brain. Pituitary comes down. Then there is thyroid gland, parathyroid gland. Then there is pancreas, which contains endocrine gland also and exocrine also. Means pancreas secretes enzymes which are required for digestion of the food, as well as it secretes insulin, which is supposed to be a hormone which controls the blood sugar level. So it has got both the functions, endocrine as well as exocrine. Okay. Then adrenal gland, which are 2 small glands situated on the top of the kidney, both sides. Adrenal gland, and then This is a complete this thing, picture. This is digestive system. This is stomach, lungs on both the sides. Heart is there in between. So every system can be studied.
Where is the spleen in this?
Spleen is on the left side. Right side is liver. Spleen is inside. And this is the diaphragm actually. A big muscle which separates the chest cavity and the abdominal cavity. Abdomen contains all these intestines, group of intestines, stomach, pancreas, everything. And chest will have lungs on other side and heart in between. So 2 systems governing one are nervous system and endocrine system. Now endocrine system secretes various different hormones. Endocrine systems, various different glands in the endocrine system secrete number of hormones. Hormones are nothing but the chemical messengers. And nervous system communicates with all the cells in terms of electrical impulse. Yes, so that communication is very fast. The brain, yes, gives out number of nerves which go right down. And what are the different types of, different parts of the nervous system? The brain, cerebral cortices which are in the cranium, then medulla oblongata. In between there is pons, midbrain, and then in the spine there is a spinal cord. Then there are number of nerves coming up, afferent nerves, or we call it as sensory nerves, which bring the inputs to the brain. And there are efferent nerves. So the whole processing takes place in the central nervous system with all inputs that are coming via 5 sense organs. We have got 5 different sense organs: eyes, ears, nose, taste, tongue, and skin. Touch, pain, temperature, pressure, everything is felt by the vibration sense, everything is felt by the skin. So there are different sensations. All these inputs the sensory nerves carry to the brain, and then all these inputs are analyzed, integrated, stored, yes, and then accordingly the commands are sent to the effector organs. And then we respond, we react, or we do kind of movement, whatever is required. So suppose there is a thorn, and if you just touch it on it, immediately you withdraw your leg, isn't it? This is the reflex action, fast. So that thorn stimulates your pain fibers, and that signal goes to the brain, and brain immediately orders these muscles of the leg to take it up. It's quick, fast. So the brain can send impulses in the form of electrical impulse. And endocrine system or endocrine glands send signals to the various different cells by chemicals, by hormones. Okay? So communication is different. Nervous system, it is quick and fast. Endocrine communication is little slow. But intercellular signaling and intercellular communication is extremely important, because there are 180 trillion cells which are working all the time for you, and one cell should send signal to the adjacent cell or to the distant cell, isn't it? The cell signaling is such a vast subject. My goodness, there are books and books on cell signaling in physiology. How the cells communicate with each other. It's amazing. It's really amazing. And how body responds appropriately. Anyway, so this is in general.
You mean to say that this in the cell signaling, this nervous system and the endocrine system is not playing a part?
They are playing, but
apart
besides
from
these
the-
two,
besides
there
this-
are many other. There are many other signaling systems. Yes, means that particular cell only will produce some proteins or something. They will act on the same cell. That is called as autoregulation. The cell itself will regulate its function. The cell will regulate the functions of other cells which are around. There are ways that there are chapters and chapters written on cell signaling in the book of physiology. We will not go into details. Anyway, so this is
When
in
a
general.
cell is diseased, then the body is diseased. Is it?
Yes.
When a cell is diseased, the body is diseased.
No, not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
If one cell dies, it doesn't matter. There are many other
Brilliant.
cells which can
180
perform, which
trillion.
can take over the function and can continue.
Yeah.
If the liver is gone and diseased, yes, how the liver will carry out the function? If there are two lungs given to us, there is plenty of reserve. If one lung is removed because of the disease, you can carry on with one lung also. There is so much of reserve given by the nature. But we spoil and exploit everything, and then we develop with the disease. We are champions. Anyway, anyway, so this is about the different systems and different organs, and this is how they work. Now regarding the fluid compartments in the body, that also worth knowing it. What do you mean by, see, the body, suppose a person weighs 70 kg, weight, suppose. This all 70 kg weight is not because of the solid material of this kind, cells, tissues or connective tissue, bones and muscles and this that. 40 kg of the weight is because of the fluid which is within the body, and 30 kg of the weight is because of the solid material. So there is so much of fluid. It is just like if you see the earth, there is 3/4 of the earth is occupied by water and 1/4 of the earth is occupied by land. The same proportion is there in the human body also. 3/4 is water. 40 kg of weight is because of the water in the body. Now this water or the fluid which is there in the body is divided into two main compartments. They are labeled as ICF and ECF. Total is 40 kg weight. That means 40 liters volume. Because 1 liter weighs 1 kg. Vessel gravity is 1 of water. So 40 kg, 40 liters. It is divided into two main compartments. This stands for intracellular fluid and this is extracellular fluid. So what is the distribution? Out of 40 liters, this is 25 liters and this is 15 liters. So fluid outside the cell. Everywhere there is fluid outside the cell. So that amounts to 15 liter and this is 25 liter within the cell. So there are 180 trillion cells. Every cell will contain some water or fluid. That amounts to 25 liters and this is 15 liters.
And mainly it is blood, no?
Yeah. So there are sub-compartments of the ECF. Yes? Blood is part of the ECF, not complete. Yes? So one biggest, largest compartment is called as interstitial fluid. Interstitial fluid means the fluid which is in between the cells. This is one cell, this is another cell, this is third cell. So the fluid which is in between the cells is called as interstitial fluid. And the giving and taking back of the nutrients and the waste products always occurs through this interstitial fluid. Because the blood vessels, suppose because the blood vessels do not reach each and every cell of the body. This is one blood vessel which will give rise to number of smaller capillaries. It's like a tree. Yes, one main blood vessel which will give rise to number of small vessels which is called as capillary. But then there is a distance from the capillary and the cell membrane. This distance is filled up by the interstitial fluid. So the blood is there inside. From blood it goes into interstitial fluid. From there it goes into inside the cell. So this interstitial fluid compartment is the biggest one. Vascular compartment is also another part of the ECF. Then there is parallel vascular system in the body called as the lymph channels. So there is another system of channels like blood vessels called as the lymphatic system. So some of the fluid is carried by the lymphatic system back to the heart. Most of the blood or fluid is carried via vascular system back to the heart. Total amount of blood in the body is 5 liters only. Extracellular fluid I told you is 15 liters. Out of that 5 liters is only in the vascular system and what we call it as blood. The remaining fluid 10 liters, yes, is either in the form of interstitial fluid, and then if you see every organ, if you take heart, if you take liver, if you take lung, every organ is covered by a double layered membrane. Yes, and for the movement to occur smoothly, because heart contracts, relaxes, so that movement has to take place smoothly. So it should not rub against anything. That is why every organ is protected well by a double layered sac. In every sac, again there is a fluid. And that is how the movement, the motion occurs very smoothly. Even the brain There are 3 layers of meninges, 3 layers around the brain, and there is a fluid within. So in the brain also there is fluid outside the brain as well as fluid within the brain also. So actually the brain floats in the fluid. Yes, otherwise what will happen? Suppose the blood pressure rises and more blood flows through the blood vessels. Yes, because this is the cranium, it has got fixed volume, isn't it so? If the blood flow inside increases and suppose due to any reason this fluid which is around, if it increases in volume, it will cause pressure on the brain. It is so perfectly made, design, I just can't imagine. Everything is protected well, properly. So all these fluids around every organ is labeled differently. Pleural fluid is the fluid which covers the lungs. Pericardial fluid, the fluid which covers the heart. Peritoneal fluid, yes, it is the fluid which covers your intestines, loops of intestine, small intestine, large intestine. So every organ has got a double layered sac which is filled up by fluid. So these are all sub-compartments of ECM. Okay? Now, it is the Claude Bernard, the French physiologist, who first stated that human being lives in 2 environments. One environment is this outside environment, which is often hostile and which is often changing. And second environment is this interstitial fluid. Because it is this environment to which every cell is exposed to. Right? So this is most important environment. Any change if it occurs outside, the corresponding change has to take place inside also, the interstitial fluid. So this interstitial fluid is called as internal sea, because in which all the cells are baked or floating. Yes, this is internal sea. Now another American physiologist, W.B. Cannon, who coined the term homeostasis. What do you mean by homeostasis? Constancy of the internal environment, always maintained all throughout life. And it is because the external environment, in spite of any change which occurs in the external environment, our internal environment is always maintained constant. And that is why all the cells of the body can function around same, because their environment is constant. It's never changing. Now this constancy regarding what? Is it volume? Is it temperature?
All.
Is it composition? Everything.
All.
Everything. So this interstitial fluid, internal environment, the pH is maintained constant, temperature is maintained constant. So in spite of change outside, our body temperature is always maintained at 37 point something. So temperature is maintained constant. Osmolarity, most important, is also maintained constant. And composition is maintained constant. And this is called as homeostasis. And because everything is maintained constant, the cellular function can go on and on for
This
whole life.
Electrolytes, where they come?
Electrolyte is composition and osmolarity.
Osmolarity.
Osmolarity. If osmolarity outside increases, what will happen? The water will be
come
drawn.
out.
Water will be drawn from intracellular compartment to extracellular compartment, and the cell size will become small, shrink. If osmolarity of interstitial fluid decreases, what will happen to
It will
cell
take
size? It will enlarge. So cell has to remain normal shape size, isn't it? So this constancy is extremely important, extremely important. And there are hundreds and hundreds of mechanisms by which pH is maintained constant, temperature is maintained constant, osmolarity and composition is maintained constant all throughout life. And we as physiologists say, what is health? Is ability to maintain homeostasis. In correct technical term, this is called as health. Ability to maintain homeostasis all throughout life is health. Suppose pH changes. What is the pH of the fluid? Is 7.4 always. Slightly alkaline. 7.4. It is meticulously maintained. There are hundreds and thousands of mechanisms in the body. If this pH tends to change here, this side or that side, there are a number of mechanisms which are brought about immediately to bring back to normal.
What is
7.4.
Is it alkaline
pH is
acid?
acid and alkaline ratio. Ratio of H ions and OH ions. Acid and alkaline.
The ratio has to be constant.
7.4, slightly on alkaline side. pH range is very big.
7.
No, 7 is what?
7.4.
7.4 is alkaline.
Slightly alkaline. Slightly alkaline. Less than 7.4, 7.34 becomes acidic.
Acid.
And this side it is alkaline. Higher than this is alkaline. And
Less than 7.
this is acidic.
So what happens like if it is higher?
Yes. So suppose this changes. The transport of the substances across the cell membrane gets disturbed. Transport of nutrients as well as waste products gets disturbed. If transport gets disturbed, what will happen? The cell will not get proper nutrients. Cell will stop functioning slowly. Yes. So pH maintenance is extremely important. And as regards our food, all animal foods
Acidic.
produce acid environment inside the body. All vegetarian
Alkaline.
produce alkaline end products of metabolism.
The milk is
So
also
milk is
acidic.
acidic.
Yes.
Acidic.
Yes. Milk is an animal product. Too much of milk is no good at all. Not at all. So we'll be talking about food in the next lecture. Yes, tomorrow. So that is why I told her that I will require minimum 4 lectures. Then it will make some
Yes,
sense.
yes.
Otherwise, just one lecture is not enough. It's not, I
Not sense.
because it
Not
will
justified.
create more of misunderstanding rather
Yeah.
than understanding.
Correct.
Yeah. So that is why I took a set of 4 lectures. So this is very, very important. Temperature also is constant. Human being is homeothermic animal. In spite of any change outside, we are able to maintain our body temperature around 37 degrees centigrade. And why? If the temperature rises, what happens in fever? In fever, the temperature rises of the body. Yes? All the chemical reactions, the metabolic reactions which are going on in
Fast.
the body occur faster.
Fast.
And more heat is generated. The nutrients are getting exhausted very fast, naturally, because the temperature becomes more, the rate of chemical reactions go up. Osmolarity, I told already, if it changes, what happens? Composition, that is, your blood sugar level has to remain normal. Your lipids, various different types of lipids, cholesterol, HDL, LDL, triglyceride, everything has to remain normal. So all the constituents of the blood chemistry has to remain normal. Naturally, if the blood chemistry gets altered, what will happen? Again, the viscosity will change, the flow and this thing, characteristics will get altered. Yes? So blood chemistry has to remain normal. Composition has to remain normal. If blood sugar drops, decreases, cell will not get enough glucose to metabolize or to generate energy. So all 4 characteristics of interstitial fluid are extremely important, and if that is maintained correctly, the cell will go on functioning without any problems. Okay? So homeostasis, I told you, is the word which is coined by W.D. Cannon to indicate the constancy of the internal environment or the interstitial fluid. Now I told you there are hundreds and thousands of mechanisms. I go mad if I just start discussing these mechanisms for each and everything. But in nutshell, I will tell you, these regulating mechanisms are so perfect. Any engineering system you take, the regulating mechanism has got three components: the sensors or detectors, which detect the change, any change if it occurs anyway, that is called as sensor. A controlling center and the effector organ. The same system holds good in the biology, in the human body also. So every controlling mechanism which controls pH, which controls temperature, it's not one mechanism, there are hundreds and thousands of mechanisms. But each mechanism will have these three components. Which are they? Sensor, controlling center and effector organ. Sensors, we call it as receptors in physiology, which detect the stimulus, which detect the change in the environment. If pH has changed or temperature has changed, for every change to detect, there are number of sensors and the receptors situated on the cell membrane. They detect the change immediately. They pass it on the information to the controlling center. Controlling center gets information from not one sensor or receptor, multitudes of receptors and sensors. So that is analyzed, integrated, right? Some part is stored, and then the controlling center sends commands to the effector organs to change the required change, whatever is required. If blood sugar is increased, that will be detected by the corresponding sensors. The information will be sent to the brain controlling center, and then brain will send to either get rid of glucose somehow or the other, so that blood sugar level will decrease. Yes, and the necessary change will be brought about by the effector organs. So there are multiple sensors, there are multiple effector organs, and there are controlling centers also are many. Remember that. And that is how the control variable is maintained all the time normal. These are the basic components of any regulating mechanism. Now the sensitivity of the sensors is extremely important. Sensitivity of the controlling center is extremely important, and the sensitivity of the effector organs also is extremely important. It has to be within normal range. If it becomes too much of sensitive, if sensitivity increases, what will happen? They will send unnecessarily the impulses to the controlling center, and the response will be produced, which is useless. So the sensitivity and the site of the receptors is extremely important. There are two types of receptors, peripheral and central. So peripheral receptors bring the information from a distance. Central receptors are within the nervous system itself. So as far as temperature regulation is concerned, there is this dual system of receptors, peripheral as well as central. So if the external temperature varies, that is detected by the peripheral receptors fast, and the information is brought to the brain. And these internal receptors also send information that this external change, how much that change has caused change within, internally. So there is a dual system. So that comparison is made by the brain and the necessary correction is done. Fantastic. And for every small function that we carry out, there is such an elaborate regulating mechanism. Elaborate. And as a physiologist, our aim and goal is to find out various different mechanisms, the site of receptors, the site of sensors, the controlling center, and which are the effector organs. That is what we constantly think of. Yes. Anyway, so this is just the function, how we tell you the time. Only 1 hour, huh? Anyway.
You carry on, no problem.
Oh, okay. So this is the organization health. Now it's very easy. How the health will be maintained, good health all the time? requirement of the cell is fulfilled. Correctly. And whatever waste products that are produced within are cleared off. So the cells will remain clean from inside. Simple understanding of health, isn't it? So there are various different ways by which the health is defined. Different people have defined it in different ways. But to understand it's very easy. One should have this micro approach. Then you will have macro benefits. Yes? You think of individual small tiny cell. Yes, if its requirement is fulfilled, health is no problem. Right?
No, madam, but
Yes.
if I tell you a symptom, can you tell in this respect what was the problem? My
Yes.
mouth is dry, always dry, terrific dry. Even I drink this much water, still it is right now dry.
Yeah.
What must be wrong in my thing?
There are many reasons actually. I will have to give differential diagnosis. There is no one reason.
That's it.
One reason why you are getting dryness of the mouth.
Yeah, yeah.
Dryness of the mouth. One thing is weather.
No, weather, no,
Yes, yes. It's always 12 months.
Always,
Okay.
always years.
So we will discuss
Yeah,
that
yeah,
later.
later on, no weather,
Later.
no weather.
Even
Okay.
diabetes.
Huh?
Later on.
Later on.
Later on.
Let me finish my this thing.
Yeah.
Yes, so what is the definition of health? There are different people have defined it differently. Common man will define it as absence of aches and pains is health. WHO, World Health Organization has defined it as absence of disease or sickness is health. Yes? Then a common man will define it as if a person is able to run for catching a bus or a train, he is fit and fine. Yes? So this is layman's definition. We will go on other definitions, the better and better ones. So, as a physiologist, I am physiologist, so I will define it as optimum and harmonious functioning of all the bodily systems, or it is the ability to maintain
Maintain homeostasis.
homeostasis within is health. Right? Then some definition has come up like it is a state of the body where all the systems and their components function optimally and harmoniously. I told you. There is one more definition. It is a state of body characterized by alert, mental alertness, curiosity, emotional feelings, and meaningful relationships with other humans, and awareness and involvement in societal striving and problems, and physical capacity to accomplish personal goals with vigor and without undue fatigue. This is also a correct definition and more comprehensive definition. One more definition, capacity to achieve optimal quality of life, which include intellectual, physical, emotional, and psychological. More comprehensive definition, it is a dynamic, physiological, multidimensional state of the body. Multidimensional. It is, what are these dimensions? There are 4 dimensions. Okay?
Physical, emotional.
So it is, yes, it is a dynamic, physiological, multidimensional state ranging over a continuum. Ranging over a continuum of maximal human performance and a minimal human performance, or death. Death is the minimum human performance and maximal human performance, this side. So it is a continuum, it changes over a continuum. What are these 4 dimensions? Physical, mental,
Emotional.
emotional, and spiritual.
Spiritual.
Yes, spiritual is the energy spark, the life force that each living being has within. That has come from nature, cosmos, whatever. I don't know the source, but it is coming from outside. It is like electricity in the lamp or in any gadget. Yes, we can't see that.
That which we call life.
Yes, Yes, so the electricity is your spirit, spiritual component. Every living being has, which comes from where, I don't know, but it comes from somewhere. That is spiritual. Physical is body. Mental is your thoughts, ideas, imagination, creativity, whatever is mental. And emotional is bhavana, feelings, emotions. So it is a multi-dimensional, physiological, dynamic, means changing. It is not constant. Yes, state of the body. And it ranges over a continuum with from minimal performance to maximal performance. Now this whole continuum can be divided into, yes, by 3 lines. This part of the continuum, we call it as supra-optimal. This is adequate. This is less. Okay? So, most of the people, or majority of the people, most of the population falls somewhere in the middle. It has got adequate health fitness. Average. Yes? Few people are having supra-optimal. So they fall at the upper end of the continuum. And the sick people, the diseased people, fall at the lower end of the continuum. Right? So these are disease or sick, normal, average, and these are called as self-actualized people. Self-actualized.
Like self-starter.
Yes, who are self-actualized? Yogis.
Not necessary.
Not necessary. Yes. And what is self-actualization?
Like self-starter.
Like the one who those who have reached their goals in life.
Yes, the potential, whatever natural potential that you have got, if you can exhibit it totally outside the world, you become self-actualized. So all great thinkers, great philosophers, great writers, great sportsmen, yes, great artists, great scientists, all are self-actualizers.
That means they have reached their potential.
They have reached maximally whatever potential that they have, or they have exhibited their potentialities to maximum extent. They are self-actualized people. So there are very few which fall at the upper end of the continuum. Most of us are in the middle of the continuum, and those who are diseased are at the lower end of the continuum.
These self-actualized people, they may not be like
Yes, so
optimal on all the parameters.
One second. I'm coming to that. What is the interrelationship of these 4 components? Yes, interrelationship. That is more important. So suppose you are supra-optimal in one of the dimensions. Yes?
No.
Then it reinforces or it enhances your development in other dimensions automatically. How? I don't know. How? I don't know. But that is the relationship.
Yeah,
it has been shown and proved.
It should be balanced. No? So because it
should be
see,
balanced, but in a normal person. But those who are extreme in one of the dimension, yes, great scientists, they generally don't fall sick. Have you seen? They die at the end, but they don't fall sick. That means all the other components are enhanced, or they are reinforced somehow, or they are pulled upward by that one supra-optimally developed dimension. On the other side, suppose one of the component is developed minimally in a particular person, it pulls down all other dimensions also. This is what is the relationship, interrelationship of all the 4 components. Yes, great singers, Bhimsen Joshi. Yes, have you seen him singing at the age of 80, 85, 90? Because he has excelled in one dimension, supra-optimal. So naturally all other components become absolutely secondary and they are somehow pulled up. So this is the relationship. I think that will answer your question. Okay? And this has been proved and this has been shown scientifically in number of books. Okay? I think this is the best definition of health, more comprehensive, and it tells you the various different components of the health. It is not, see, any athlete, he may be physically superb, yes, but he may not be healthy. Yes, but a healthy person is always athletic. You know the difference? Because a healthy person will have all the four components properly developed. So this line will tell you health and total well-being. Total well-being means all the four components develop adequately. All the four components. So the person is healthy and has total well-being. That means mentally also is normal, physically, emotionally and spiritually. So this is health and total well-being. This line or this arrow will show the health breakdown. Yes, in any one component, and then the person becomes sick. So this arrow will show health and total well-being. This arrow will show health breakdown. Okay? So this is the definition of health. I think this is the best definition, more comprehensive. Now, we will go on.
But madam, self-actualization may not be possible for everybody.
No,
There are
not
few
also
people,
very
no?
few,
Very
very few.
Most of us will do only.
Not even 2%,
Spaghetti here.
not even 2%, less than 2% people reach this. And Maslow, famous psychologist, has listed out the characteristics of a self-actualized person. I've got, I think I have enumerated those characteristics in my book. A self-actualized person, how to identify that particular person. See, he may not be popular. Is it? Not all self-actualized people
Yeah.
become popular.
Correct.
Yes,
Unforgivable.
yes. Very few people get this popularity and whatever. Yes, but he may be self-actualized. So the characteristics of self, how to identify a self-actualized person, Maslow has listed down. I have given those characteristics in my book.
Can you
in
cite
one of
some
the
of them?
chapter.
Can you cite some of the characteristics?
Buy the book.
No, just cite the.
I don't remember.
Yeah, you have to buy the book.
Look at it.
Yeah, he'll buy the book only.
There is so much of information
Yeah,
given
buy
in
the
this
book.
particular
A
book.
lot of yogis and they are
Yes,
almost
they are
reached. We do not know
posted.
their names also.
They are
Yeah,
There are
not-
many